Great. I think this is a panel that I have been looking forward to for a long time. It has taken us a while to put this together. So the reason I'm very excited about this panel is because for the last about 20 years, Zinnov has been in the business of helping GCCs come to India, mature in India, grow, set up centers, increase the contribution of innovation at the headquarter level. And in the ecosystem, we now have more than 1,800 GCCs, and the three people here represent more than the 1,000 GCCs in the three states of Karnataka, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu. We have witnessed a phenomenal increase in the interest and in the number of people that are being hired by GCCs, number of new GCCs being set up, and these are the people who silently work in the background to make all of these things happen. And so firstly, a round of applause to thank each of the one of them. The government is really enabling us to put the best step forward and grow the overall Indian economy and also the technology quotient of the Indian economy. So great, thank you all for making it to this panel. What I'll do is I will start first with, the question that most of us have is sometimes they don't see the real work that the government is doing in terms of enabling, incentivizing many of these MNC GCCs to come to India till they actually try to come to India, right? So if you could enlighten us and the community in terms of what are the key incentives, what are the key areas that the government is promoting, and how it really looks to collaborate and incentivize the companies that are looking to set up GCCs in India. I will first request Jayesh, sir, who is the secretary at Telangana government, and he has been doing this for 10 years. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Siddhant. Greetings to fellow panelists, Vishnu, Mr. Gupta, and greetings to members in the audience. See, it's like this. Different states are at different levels in this GCC journey. And what is more important is how do we position India? Because whenever we go abroad, to the US in particular or to Europe, we realize that there is lots of interest about India. But people still believe that this is a difficult place to do business and things will be a bit unsettling. So first of all, we must promote India as a country that while this perception may be valid maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but things have changed quite a lot. Progressive states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, ourselves, we have started working in a completely different way. And when you mentioned that more than 60% of the GCCs are in these three states, one of the reasons is that our approach towards potential companies is very, very professional. In fact, I can't really see members of the audience, but I'm sure there'll be quite a few who have set up their units in Hyderabad. And I'm sure if you ask them, their experience of working with the government in Telangana, in Hyderabad, would have been absolutely amazing, beyond their expectations. This is the feedback we also get, that the reputation of the government to being very receptive, etc. So what I want to tell you is that this itself is a great advantage that potential companies get in states like us, the three of us, that the government is very receptive. We are willing to work with you. We see you as a partner. We want to give you whatever you expect to be given in a fair way. And I guess that is something which has worked for all of us.
Great. Thank you, Jayesh, sir. Vishnu, I'll come to you. So Chennai has a special position in the GCC community. And also, if you look at the type of industries, a lot of core industries are there in Chennai. Is there a specific policy or there's, how do you manage to create this kind of a branding and a niche for yourself in Tamil Nadu?
Well, before I begin on the GCC front, couple of quick points on where Tamil Nadu's economy as a whole. It's important to understand that perspective before getting into the Chennai growth story. for the simple reason that the second largest economy in the country, GSDP of close to 300 billion US dollars, well diversified, very equitably distributed growth. 50% of our GSDP comes from 8 districts. You take that for comparable state, it comes from 2 to 3 districts put together, at max 4 of comparable economy size. Which means the Tamil Nadu's story is not the Chennai growth story alone. It's TN as a whole, Chennai plus a series of tier 2 cities, which is today being pitched as potential options for global operations. Point number 2, Chennai has always been known as a manufacturing capital. We have done well for ourselves in attracting the global OEMs. The latest being jewel in the crown, Tata Motors announcing for the first time a premium car being manufactured in India, the Jaguar Land Rover. So this is the first time that country is going to see a premium car actually being manufactured end-to-end, not a CKD unit. So let's put all this in perspective. Add to it TN's strength. I'll come to the incentives in the end because that's just monetary in nature. The biggest offering the TN has is a skill. With the 47% gross enrollment ratio, the highest in the country, 43% of women working in factories in India, 42%, the latest figure stands corrected, 42% of women working in factories in India come from the state of Tamil Nadu. We have got phenomenons like all women shop floors. Ola has their all women shop floors, Tata Power has their all women shop floors. You add the diversity angle to the GCC context. That's something unparalleled, which TN has an offering for global companies. I'll come to the incentives to the end because as a state, we've been looking to diversify into multiple sectors, both capital intensive, employment intensive. Employment intensive for a well-diversified rural growth perspective also. In the last assembly, that was the Legislative Assembly, our Honorable Minister announced a very, very unique policy, probably the first time in the country, which is exclusively targeting GCCs, the global Fortune 500 GCCs and Forbes 2000 companies listed in those two lists to set up their new operations. We offer a 30% payroll subsidy for year 1, 20% payroll subsidy for year 2, and 10% payroll subsidy for year 3 for all jobs greater than basic income of 1 lakh.
Including GCCs?
Including GCCs.
Wow.
GCCs and R&D. This is probably the first time any state would have come out. But like I said, monetary comes the end. The first 3, the inherent strengths of the state, I think that is what should attract, that is what should drive the GCCs to set up the shop in the state of TN. Like I said, I'm re-emphasizing the fact TN and not Chennai. We have got wonderful cities like Coimbatore, Madurai, which support global operations even today. Right. So I think the story of Tamil Nadu is the TN as a whole story rather than just being the Chennai story.
I think that's a good point, right? Because we've seen Coimbatore come up significantly, and there are many other cities like that. So Dr. Gupta, from the side of Karnataka and Bangalore, about 1/3 of all GCCs have been in Bangalore. Traditionally, this is where the first GCC was set up. A lot of companies then followed the movement of technology here, and obviously you have large services companies as well. So Bangalore has enjoyed a traditional advantage for multiple reasons. At the same time, we would really love to understand what more is the government of Karnataka doing to ensure that it keeps the leadership position and ensure that it continues to attract the best companies and the best type of work to Karnataka. It's on, sir.
Thank you, Siddhant. First of all, a big hand of applause for all the GCC leaders here to make Karnataka a proud state. Thank you so much. You are great, and you make Karnataka one of the leading state in the country.
There are leaders from other states also. Just kidding.
I am talking all GCCs, they have the centers here also. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that this is not a clique. It's a very significant effort has been put together by the industry, by the government. And as Jayesh ji was talking about, the way the government interacts and ease of doing business is available for the industry, especially for the GCCs, and the interaction happens like a colleagues, like a friends way, how do we make it happen? It's not the erstwhile, we all have experience in bureaucracy, have been serving in some period of time. It's not that bureaucracy. It's about how do we make happen for the citizens of the state, for your programs and your solution that you're building up. That has for the last 3 decades has been going across. And we have set up something like a vision group, which has been there for almost 2 decades.
Okay.
Where the leaders of the GCCs, the leaders of the industry, advise government on continuous basis what to be done, how to be done, and make it happen.
Interesting.
Couple of more points which interesting is coming up is, we are coming up with a GCC policy. The first time where a state will completely dedicate a policy, and we have multiple consultations with industry leaders. In next 3 to 4 weeks' time, you will find the draft policy coming up, and then we'll have the final version announced. But from the ER&D perspective and the sector's perspective, look at where Karnataka has gone into. Today, you said 1/3. 36% of GCC and 35% of talent is in the GCCs is from Karnataka. If you pick up a micro lens in terms of the, let's say, semiconductor, 45% of the GCCs of semiconductor is here in Karnataka. And then around 61% of the talent of the semiconductor GCC is here in Karnataka. Ladies and gentlemen, no other state has that potential of the talent which is available for a long number of years to sustain that level. And that brings a very important point for us to look at the ER&D, retail, and other defense segments where the GCC's operations have gone across. Now today, the maturity curve of the GCC is also defined by none other than the GCCs here, right? All over, not in Karnataka alone. But the maturity curve has gone to level that now you are defining it and the other colleagues of yours in the industry defining version 8.0 of GCCs. And this is coming up because the last 3 decades of the way the maturity curve has gone up. I'm so proud that today when I go and meet the GCC leaders, the first question that they ask is, Sanjeev, don't talk to me of financial benefits. To be very frank, I'm not interested in that. It's maybe a peanut. More important to tell me how we can work on the startup ecosystem and partner with you. So we are trying to set up the startup ecosystem with respect to their domains. How does the talent in the recent emerging skills are available for that? And what is that the quality available for that? So these are the conversations that we have with the GCCs. And it's a very meaningful conversations. On a number terminologies, up to 8 crores is available for Bannett for ER&D GCCs. Up to 8 crores.
Okay.
In terms of setting up this. I can go on.
So when you say up to 8 crores, it is...
For example, they're doing a setting up lab, a facility, which is there for entire parts of innovation part. Right? Then up to 8 crores is available as a part of capital investments and the other OPEX investments and etc. Okay. And there's a process on to follow that.
Excellent. Great. So firstly, it is very heartening to see the government across India and obviously within these 3 states take such initiatives to help the GCC community. And if you just look at, you spoke about certain numbers, and before this, when we were talking to each other, in fact, it was amazing that there were GCC leaders that were walking up to each of them, and they knew each of them personally. So that itself was insightful for me to see that the government is so approachful. Jayesh sir, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, in the recent, at least in the last 2-3 years, we have seen a slightly higher traction of GCCs who are becoming more and more amenable to set up in Telangana. And I think even in the panelists, we saw Castlight, we saw about 3 or 4 companies that even we have helped set up in the last 1.5 years. And we have seen this trend for, I mean, now I would say it's peaking, but it's been around for about 6, 7, 8 years. And I don't know whether it's correlation. Your tenure has been about 10 years in this role in Telangana. So could you walk us through on how it was when you came in? And you are a seasoned bureaucrat for more than 30 years. How was it when you came in? What are some of the things that you did? And maybe some of the recent examples of how we are making this happen.
Thank you. See, so you are partially correct, but the complete data is like this, that in the last 6 years, the highest number of GCCs in that particular year have gone to Hyderabad, closely followed by Bangalore, and then to Chennai. The year-on-year growth is way above the national average, way more than what is there in Bangalore and in Chennai. So obviously something is responsible for it. It's not that it's happening randomly, etc. So there's a very calculated way in which we try to attract more and more GCCs our way. See, one of course is that you have to be very welcoming of them, you have to be very receptive. This is the feedback which I hear, that in Telangana, in Hyderabad, the red carpet is rolled out and it is never removed. I mean, I don't want to name anyone. We are in Bangalore, I don't want to run down anyone else, but, but the feedback is that in some other state, they roll out the red carpet. Once they are confident that this investment is with me, the red carpet shifts to someone else. So in Hyderabad, the impression they tell me is that the red carpet is always there. In fact, I mean, this event is happening in Bangalore. If it was happening in Hyderabad, the hall would be full with Hyderabad-based GCCs. You could have actually done a poll. You could have gone around and checked their phones. Everyone will have my number there. Until recently, of course, our current minister is new, but we had a minister for 10 years. Everyone would have his number also. And the reputation that we built for ourselves was that we will respond to everything. Nothing is off the table.
Yeah, I think that we can vouch for. Our team reaches out to you directly and we always get a response.
No, nothing is off the table. It's not that I'll just tell you how to procure talent or what incentives you will give. I mean, it's an extreme example, and this is, it doesn't happen every day, but I've helped a GCC leader avoid police case in a drunk driving matter. So
I think that's a big incentive.
No, it's not an incentive. I mean, as I said, it's an extreme thing. It's not, it doesn't tell you that you come to Hyderabad, be reckless, someone will help you. That is not what I wanted to tell you. The message is different. The subtext is that nothing is off the table. You want help with school admissions, you want some membership of some club. One other example I remember, one GCC leader the GCC of course is in Hyderabad, the leadership had come from the US. They had an appointment with the Prime Minister. For some reasons they miscalculated. They were about to miss the flight. We were able to get them on that flight by some kind of local maneuvering. So nothing is off the table. So that is one very important thing. That this is the message that you convey and you actually deliver it. It's not just for impact that I say these kind of things. If there are some people from Hyderabad, you can still ask them to take out their phones and check whether my numbers are there or not. So the other important thing is, see, skill is the most important. Talent is the most important thing. Now, over a period of time, last 10 years in particular, we have tried to build our strengths in that. I admit that at one point in time, so you asked what was different. I'm in this responsibility since 2014. So what was the status in 2014 and what is the status now? So in 2014, people would openly tell us that you are no match for the talent which is there in Chennai or in Bangalore. But we worked very seriously on it. We created an institution promoted by the government which is called TASK, Telangana Academy of Skills and Knowledge. And then we talked to various GCCs, what kind of skill sets do they require. We ensure that we train enough number of students completely at government's cost. In fact, if you ask me what kind of incentives work the best in Telangana, of course, when it comes to monetary incentives, I have a standard answer. The standard answer is, whatever you are getting in Bangalore, I will match it. And I say so with so much of confidence because I know that in Bangalore they get nothing. So to match it is no challenge at all. Of course, you have raised the bar very high. So I'll have to now rethink. I mean, when you're paying salaries to employees for 3 years, I'll have to kind of recalculate. But so far,
I thought they get 8 crores in Bangalore.
Pardon me?
I thought they get 8 crores in Bangalore.
8 crores possibly to some of them who are setting labs, etc. But no, but the real incentive is that if a GCC tells us that I'm planning to start my operations 6 months down the line, I do health analytics. This is a particular software that I use, and I would like 100 people who know that software. Now, let us say it is a very proprietary, very niche software. Our colleges don't teach. We don't have too much of familiarity with that software. So at government's cost, if they want 100 people, I will train 500 people and ask them that you pick the best 100 out of it.
Wow.
If for some reason none of those 100 match up to your standard, just because I've put money, I've made effort, there's no compulsion that you have to take 100 of them. You push all of them aside. I'll retrain another 500 for you. So that is a very big value, that you don't waste time in taking raw people, training them. And in the tech world, there is a very important parameter through which every company, every employee is judged, which is called billing, like how much every resource is kind of giving to you. So we ensure that you can get billable people, billable resources right on day one. You don't put them on some learning kind of process. You pay salaries, you get nothing in return, you feel frustrated. At the end of the training, some people jump ship. It doesn't happen that way. So that is one important thing that we have started realizing is valued quite a lot by companies. And obviously, in terms of improving the curriculum, ensuring that all the new generation skills are available, task, this organization that I spoke about, they're also very agile to understand what exactly is happening in the market. So AI, as we all know, is the most kind of favored technology. Within that also, what are the newer applications, newer software, et cetera, et cetera. The value proposition and infrastructure also is very strong. So it is. So when you asked what is the incentive that you give, I was very tempted to answer saying that Hyderabad is the incentive. But I realized that Mr. Gupta, Dr. Gupta is next to me. He may take it otherwise, so I refrained from giving that answer. So we are benefiting from where others are slipping quite significantly. But we also maintain, as a government, we are very conscious that the government has to ensure that the quality of living is very, very high. Employee sentiment is very high. I don't have precise numbers, but lots of people from the industry tells me that in Bangalore, a large number of workforce is still in that work from home kind of mentality, while in Hyderabad, almost 2/3 are back in office, and rest also, if the company allows them to come to office, everyone will be happy to come. Because urban challenges of commute, of finding good housing, good kind of, so things like that. See, before this panel started, I asked him whether the audience wants information or entertainment. So he told me that begin with information, but jolt them by entertaining them as well.
Thank you, Jayesh, sir. So, Dr. Gupta, I'll let you, I think one of the things that we wanted to discuss is obviously allow you to respond. Plus also, if you could give us one very clear example of some recent firms that you have helped work with and bring to Karnataka, and how that was done, what were the collaboration and avenues that you had?
Yeah. First of all, I think the parameters on which the GCCs are looking today is that, hey, I went to some place, but I couldn't scale up. Thank God Bangalore is alive. And then we show them the real red carpet long enough to bring them back. Amazingly. And then we saw, GCCs looking, saying, great, people talk and punch about Bangalore for the traffic. The GCCs are giving me an answer. Where is not there traffic in any city in India? Where is not there? Tell me one city. In fact, in some of those elevated highways, if you look down, you will find much deeper traffic violations, and also the traffic one, which is bigger than what we see here. The secret sauce of Bangalore, the secret sauce of Karnataka is very different. When 3,000 GCCs are coming to be looked forward to coming up in India, friends, we are looking for 50% market share. And we are very, very aggressive on that. When we say aggressive, it's not about just saying. It's about actually making things happen on the way. Focusing on certain domains on which it is required to be built up the ecosystem more. As I give you an example, pick up any engineering and research design company, pick up in any retail company, aerospace and defense. The recent one is space. We are ahead of this curve. Now, what a secret sauce I can't share now. We'll talk about this one-to-one basis.
Great.
Now, a couple of more points before I hand over back to you. We are also looking at the Mangaluru, and we are designing this in a very different model. And I'm very happy to share with you, almost on an average, The real quality talent which is coming out from these locations of Mangalore and Mysore is roughly around 20,000 fresh engineering graduates, and if I include the graduates of the other degree colleges, it goes to 30,000 plus. The ecosystem today has almost employing the digital economy side, which is of the in the cloud architectures, the data analyst and AI talent and ML talent also, including that, on an average in these clusters, we're somewhere around 25,000, 30,000 people employed right now.
Okay.
There are GCCs which are operating with more than 1,000-seater operations in these locations. What we're trying to do, I know you're asking me to stop, but I will not stop for a minute. There is a reason for it, because we're trying to put up a edge into this line. That means Mangalore is becoming a BFSI, a gaming GCC and a function there. Mysore is becoming more of a semicon, as well as in cyber securities, BCP concepts are coming up place. In Hubli and Belgaum, we're putting in AI. There are some 6-7 companies which has come up. In fact, recently the German company has set up the GCC operation in Bangalore.
Interesting.
And we all are working towards that. So, friends, Bangalore का आपने बहुत feel किया है. Now look at the beyond Bangalore as well. So this is much more different version of the Karnataka story which is going to come out, and it's been accepted by the industry as well.
Interesting.
And I'm looking forward to have more deeper engagement. But nevertheless, the red carpet treatment which is available from all the states, here the industry comes forward first, and the industry accepts the industry person to come on board. Bureaucracy just follows the steps of the industry.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. I think those very, very interesting points, and I like the beyond Bangalore concept as well. Mr. Vishnu, I'll come to you, right? So, do you like to share? I think when we were speaking earlier, there were a few interesting examples that you gave. Any one example you would like to share in terms of how recently Tamil Nadu or Chennai has worked with certain MNCs?
Yeah, before I get into that, since the flavor of the time seems to be a bit of entertainment, I think I need to put in my bit too. That while every state government rolls out red, green, blue, whatever carpet, by the time the person reaches the other end, the government is flipped, and then you're back to square one. Whereas Tamil Nadu, with no reference to any particular state, but having said that, TN is one state where there is political stability. I can say this in front of my minister also, or any of the political executive, that despite a regime change or whatever the political party is in power, every successive government has tried to do better than the previous government as far as the industry sectors is concerned. This has been the TN growth story always. For 3 decades we've been doing this continuously, right from the time the automobile growth story. Consistency, policy stability, and political continuity. I think these 3 words mean ease of doing business. We can talk about incentives, we can talk about red carpet, all those carpets later, but political stability and continuity in policy stability is probably the most important thing, and we value that to the core. And Tamil Nadu, we promise what we can deliver, and we deliver it on time. So I think
I still remember when we worked with Saint Gobain to open the Chennai center near IIT Madras. We did have the then Chief Minister come in to inaugurate that particular center, which I think in my few years, this is very rare to see. So yes, I do acknowledge that.
While we can promise +5, +10 and everything, but then at the same time, we need to actually pay out the promises, and I think TN has been doing that consistently over the decades. Now, coming to the specific examples on where we have been fairly successful over the last couple of years, I would highlight probably the example of UPS, a Fortune 100 global company, when they wanted to set up their first technology center outside the US and India. I'm sure they would have gone through the usual suspects. All of them were part of the game. But I think they decided to set base in Chennai. Not just base, they're expanding continuously. What started as 600 is now set to grow to 1,500. And I'm sure looking at what Chennai's strength is always about scale. Recently, AstraZeneca just announced their world's largest GCC in Chennai. We have world's largest operations for Standard Chartered. So I think the world's largest at scale is probably what defines the Tamil Nadu story. Consistently grow. Just a quick operation and then move out. I don't think that's the game that we are in. Consistently at scale, keep on reinvesting. Like we said, always keep saying TN's biggest ambassadors are our current investors, people who are already in place. They continue to grow, they continue to expand, they continue to reinvest, and TN will stand by its promise. Thank you.
Perfect. So Jayesh sir, I would let you have I think we have time for one question. I think when we were discussing, and thank you for coming in early, we were able to discuss 2-3 very interesting examples of how we have not just helped companies set up, but really grow and scale over the years. So it'll be great if you could share any one example of those.
Yeah, sure. See, so as Vishnu mentioned, we are monitoring success in terms of how many new companies are coming, which of course is a very valid parameter. But let us also focus on this. The existing ones, are they expanding or not?
Right.
Because that is a very strong parameter to show whether what is expected in that state, is it happening
being delivered or not. Yeah.
And if you are not getting what you expected, you'll obviously move on. There'll be no expansion. Possibly there could be downsizing as well. So I'll give an example. This happened, it's a good coincidence that you asked this question because this episode happened only yesterday. So I was in a dinner in Hyderabad. Uber folks had come. Some senior leadership had come. I don't know if anyone from Uber is here. They have after San Francisco, the second largest footprint anywhere in the world is in Hyderabad.
Excellent.
So I recall this is about 7-8 years ago, which also gives me a thought to digress. You are mentioning that governments are changing, etc. But no. But I'm there for the last 10 years. I've seen so many governments. So not to say that there's something very special, but the governments realize that eventually it is people like us who deliver, who work, and to continue and do that. So coming back to this Uber example, I remember 7-8 years ago, I was sitting in my office and someone came from Uber to tell me that they're starting a center of excellence in Hyderabad. They're doing the ribbon cutting after a few days. And he had come basically to invite me. He told me that the US Consul General is also attending. Please join her. So it was very exciting. See, Uber in those days, of course now as well, was the poster boy of the new economy, and their CEO at that time, Travis, he was a very flamboyant person. I asked actually whether anyone from Uber is there or not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said this about Travis. Very flashy, flamboyant. So it was very exciting that Uber has chosen Hyderabad for their COE. So I went there on that day. I did not ask too many questions at that time when he had come to invite me. But when I went that day for that event, the same gentleman who had come to invite me, he was escorting me inside. On the way, I asked him that what is going to be the head count here. So he told me that there will be 300 people. And he might have sensed that it did not cause any excitement on my face because, see, in Hyderabad there are companies which have 90,000 people. So 300 is, very small. Then he tried to cover up, saying that Uber is a lean company and to have 300 people at one place itself is a big thing. So I kind of accepted. Then I asked one more question. So what will these 300 people do? So that really was a disappointing answer. He told me that these 300 people will be handling, this driver's KYC, driver's onboarding, customer services. If some ticket is raised, they will monitor. So in the tech world, as we all understand, these are, of course, not to downplay the importance of these roles, but these are not the cream tech focused roles. But anyway, having gone there, we cut the ribbon. I came back. Yesterday I was there in their dinner. Of course, I knew that they were growing, but I was not very sure about the numbers. I asked the center head, what is your head count? There are 4,000 people now.
Excellent.
They started with 300. There are 4,000 people. And what they told me was that any new product development, engineering work which has to be done in India, it all comes to Hyderabad. Some years ago, I don't know whether they want this to be disclosed or not, but anyway, I'm taking the liberty to share this. Till some years ago, they were doing a very important experiment on autonomous vehicles in Pittsburgh. The entire operation was being handled from Hyderabad. The Uber Eats entire tech deck is rolling out from Hyderabad. And even those 300 guys who were there in the beginning doing KYC, etc. I was told yesterday that they have also moved up the chain. Now they are doing not just for India, but for 7-8 other countries. And they are likely to be given the American part of the work also. So qualitatively, they also are doing more important kind of things. So this is not just example. The board is saying time's up. I could have given you 20 such examples. So how much of ramping up is happening? Let us, as Zinnov, please also monitor this.
Yeah,
and let us openly publish this data. What is Bangalore's ramp up, and Hyderabad's ramp up, and Chennai's ramp up.
Great. I think each of these three gentlemen really deserve a big applause from us.